Taiwan is an intriguing and distinctive destination, renowned for its remarkable diversity. Situated in Asia, this tropical island boasts a vibrant and picturesque landscape. Positioned along the volatile Pacific Ring of Fire, Taiwan experiences frequent earthquakes, significantly shaping its geography. Amidst this volcanic terrain, we delve into the captivating story of the Bikini Climber. For GiGi Wu, venturing into the untamed wilderness of Taiwan proved to be a life-altering experience. At the age of 36, she was an ardent mountain climber, determined to conquer Taiwan's 100 peaks, a collection of mountains towering at least 10,000 feet above sea level, and renowned as the most challenging on the island. It was during one of these arduous ascents in 2014 on Jade Mountain, home to the highest peak in Northeast Asia at 13,000 feet, that she first crossed paths with Alex Yang. Both part of a climbing group organised by a travel agency, they quickly bonded over their shared passion for photography as they ascended the mountain. Yang was taken aback when, upon reaching the summit, his newfound friend discarded her gear, revealing a swimsuit top, and proceeded to set up a photo shoot. Wu explained that this was part of her personal challenge to conquer the 100 peaks, as well as a deer she had lost to a friend. Consequently, what initially began as a dare for a petite and reserved young woman who had spent her earlier years hiding behind glasses evolved into a cherished tradition. Standing at just 4 feet 6 inches tall, Wu embraced her beauty and bravery, using each bikini-clad summit as a testament to her personal growth. In the initial photographs Wu shared on Facebook, her hair appeared messy and dishevelled, while her baggy hiking pants did not flatter her figure. However, as time went on, she started wearing more vibrant swimsuits, her hair grew longer and straighter, and her poses became more provocative. Each photo garnered more attention and followers. Some viewed her actions as a self-indulgent project, sensationalizing a sacred space. Yet, those who knew her well saw a dedicated hiker using her charm to promote and preserve the beauty of the mountains on Facebook. Wu accompanied her bikini photos with detailed descriptions of the route she took to reach the summits, and she warned fellow hikers about challenging sections of each climb. She combined glamorous shots with images of misty forests, rugged trails, crystal clear mountain pools, and breathtaking views above the clouds. While male commenters often praised her physical appearance, female followers hailed her as a mountain goddess. In July 2016, Wu successfully conquered all 100 peaks. Those who admired her had to acknowledge her achievements, and it was impossible to dismiss her accomplishment as a mere stunt. Taiwan's topography, with its steep rise from the sea, presents a formidable challenge even for the most experienced climbers. Instead of focusing on herself, Wu dedicated her posts to documenting water sources and cell phone service availability for climbers. She also made a point of collecting trash along the trails, carrying extra weight to assist injured or exhausted hikers, and pushing herself to explore new terrains. Yang, who had become a close friend, gifted her a satellite phone and a Garmin GPS. Now, Wu was setting her sights beyond the 100 peaks. GiGi's objective was to conquer all 268 mountains in Taiwan that exceeded 3,000 meters in height. As she gained more experience, her fellow hikers struggled to keep up with her pace, causing her progress to slow down. Occasionally, she would have disagreements with her friends about which trails to take, which led her to prefer solo outings in order to avoid these tensions. However, venturing alone on unfamiliar trails was a risky endeavour. In May 2017, she embarked on a solo journey across the central mountain range, but eventually turned back. Later, she shared online that a mistake made while hiking alone could potentially be fatal. A year later, she posted a photo displaying her legs scarred and bruised from a dangerous fall that nearly cost her her life. During one of her elaborate photo shoots, an American climber named John Sullivan was amazed by the items she carried before starting her trips. For longer journeys, GiGi and Alex Yang would weigh her backpack. Their goal was to keep it under 70 pounds, which was more than double the weight Solomon typically carried. Solomon and Wu exchanged advice, and he encouraged her to reduce the weight of her pack. GiGi showed him the candy bars she relied on for sustenance, despite providing little fuel relative to their weight. Additionally, she carried rice and noodles that required bulky cupware and sometimes extra water. Solomon suggested replacing the candy bars with dehydrated meals. However, what concerned Solomon the most was the extensive equipment Wu carried for her summit photo shoots, including a Canon 5D Mark III camera, a pair of large lenses, and a tripod. He proposed that she consider using less bulky equipment. If she were to lose her balance with a lighter backpack, one that was better suited to her body weight, she would be less likely to be overwhelmed and fall down a steep slope. Solomon remembers how Wu abruptly ended their conversation, politely dismissing his suggestions, and stepped back in front of her camera. On January 11th, 2019, after taking 3 trains and a bus and spending a night in an inexpensive hotel popular amongst hikers, Wu arrived at the trailhead to embark on a 2-week trek through Yushan National Park in central Taiwan. Her backpack was filled with photography gear, as well as the food Yang had helped her buy: bread, cheese, meat, coffee, rice, milk, pineapple cakes and noodles. She planned to begin her journey on the Botanguan Historical Trail, a familiar route, but then veer off onto an unauthorised and dangerous Aboriginal trail that neither she nor her hiking companions had ever attempted before. Her routes would form a loop, starting and ending at the Dongpu Hot Springs to the west of the mountains, where Yang intended to pick her up on the 24th. Before resuming her journey, Wu checked the weather forecast. According to what she read, the skies will be clear on the 18th and 19th, which appeared to be the most challenging parts of her expedition. On the first of those days, just before she planned to veer onto the Aboriginal Trail and descend the northwest face of Juifan Mountain, a peak that stood at 10,000 feet, she shared a photo on Facebook. The image showed a blanket of clouds with the caption, "Celebrating today." On the 19th, Wu deviated from any established path. The trail she followed was a remnant of an old one, and as she walked, her boots crushed the wide expanse of shale and debris that had fallen from the dense canopy of trees. The rugged terrain forced her to navigate steep descents, using her hands to steady herself against tree trunks while maintaining her balance in the perpetually damp conditions. Unfortunately, the weather reports had been inaccurate, and the conditions only worsened as time passed. At around noon, Wu sent a message to another friend who had assisted her in planning her route. She had already ascended to an altitude of nearly 8,000 feet and intended to descend close to 5,000 feet before setting up camp near a small river at the base of 2 long ridges. At 4:30 p.m, Yang's phone rang while GiGi Wu was alone in the mountains. Normally, she would call Yang at around 6 p.m. to inform him that she had overcome miles of treacherous and jagged terrain, relieved herself of her 65-pound backpack, and was preparing to settle down on a level patch of ground for the night. She would mention that she would soon enjoy a cup of tea and rice as the stars began to twinkle above her. However, on a chilly Saturday afternoon in January 2019, when Alex Yang's phone rang, he found it to be too early, too soon. He answered the call in his office, located in Taipei. It was Wu calling on the satellite phone that Yang had purchased for her so she could remain connected to the world during her perilous solo climb. Normally, GiGi spoke with a composed demeanour, but this time her words seemed rushed. Amidst the static, and within a frantic 30 seconds, her voice fading in and out, Yang managed to decipher that she had fallen down a cliff and was unable to move her legs. She desperately needed assistance. Wu implored Yang to recall the article that they had recently discussed, the one about an ancient trail that connected villages inhabited by Taiwan's Aboriginal people. "Remember that trail?" she asked. He did. He also knew that the temperatures in those mountains would likely drop near freezing during the night. Yang advised her to keep warm, and then, abruptly, the call went silent. His mind raced. Wu's voice conveyed a sense of urgency, but not fear. He knew she had the phone in her backpack, so her equipment and food should be within reach. Moreover, she had conquered thousands of miles and hundreds of summits, and she was too experienced and resilient to succumb easily. As Wu lay alone, Yang hurriedly relayed the coordinates to the authorities at Yushan National Park, which spans 260,000 acres in the heart of Taiwan. Subsequently, he attempted to call GiGi back, repeatedly, every 5 minutes. However, by the time he received Wu's distress call and passed on the coordinates to the park authorities, who then relayed them to the National Airborne Service Corps, it had grown too late in the day, and the weather had deteriorated too much to dispatch any help, whether on foot or by air. A fresh weather report indicated that the skies would be clear in the morning. Despite the prediction of a drop in temperature overnight, it was not anticipated to go below freezing. Late into the night, he sent updates and reassurances to GiGi, informing her that the local fire department was mobilising rescue hikers. Helicopters were scheduled to arrive, and search and rescue operations would be conducted in the mountains to extract her. However, Yang received no response. At daybreak, the rain persisted, causing the helicopters to be grounded due to fog. Search and rescue personnel then reached out to volunteers from Taiwan's Aboriginal Bunun tribe, who were accustomed to living at high elevations. These skilled hikers often serve as mountain guides for travel companies and assist in locating missing hikers. On the 20th at 8 AM, a firefighter and 2 tribe members boarded a blue pickup truck. They began ascending the gravelly mountain roads in an attempt to rescue a woman who had previously crossed paths with a member of the tribe and had taken pictures of their remote mountains to share their beauty with urban dwellers along the coasts. Equipped with Wu's coordinates, as well as provisions, tents, clothing, ropes, and a portable stretcher that could be attached to an airlift rig, they reached an altitude of 8,000 feet, the closest point to a last known location accessible by road. From there, they embarked on foot into unfamiliar terrain. Another team of 3 men stayed behind, hoping to reach Wu by helicopter. However, due to the lingering fog and rain, they too had to proceed on foot at around 1 PM. Carrying 45 pounds of equipment each, they navigated slippery slopes for hours on end. Finally, the first rescue team reached an altitude of approximately 5,000 feet, near the coordinates provided by Wu to Yang. They were aware that she had been alive within the past 28 hours. As night fell over the mountains, they were convinced that they had located her. Far below them was a mass, possibly a body, resting amidst a collection of hiking gear on a narrow platform protruding from a cliffside that descended hundreds of feet to a river. Falling to the bottom would have resulted in certain death, but it seemed that Wu had been fortunate enough to land on that flat section of land. They called out to her, but received no response, no movement. The mass below them remained silent and motionless in the darkness. The rain and poor visibility made it impossible to descend the cliff face. That night, the temperatures dropped to just above freezing again, making it too cold and wet to start a fire. Therefore, the search and rescue teams retreated to their tents and anxiously awaited the break of dawn. The following day, they secured ropes to the cliffside and spent several hours navigating a path down the steep slope which was covered in trees, wet leaves and rocks. When the team reached her that morning, Wu was lying on her back with closed eyes and a bloody mouth. There was no breath, no pulse, and her skin was cold to the touch. Her backpack had settled nearby, with a satellite phone and cell phone by her right side and a flashlight tied to her left wrist. A silver aluminium sleeping pad covered the majority of her body, while her jacket lay beside her. This may have seemed peculiar to someone unfamiliar with hiking, considering the coldness of the night. The ground was scattered with remnants of food and drink. Unfortunately, without protection from the rain and cold, GiGi Wu passed away the night after her fall. Although she was dressed in hiking attire, the fabric was thin leaving her vulnerable to the harsh cold. Additionally, she was unable to retrieve her tent from her backpack, which would have provided some shelter. This would have led to moderate hypothermia, resulting in memory loss and lethargy. Eventually, her shivering would have ceased and she would have felt warm, explaining why she discarded her jacket. As her condition deteriorated, she may have experienced hallucinations, possibly explaining the presence of a toothbrush carefully placed by her right hand. It is likely that she believed she was preparing for another night's sleep in the mountains, just like any other night. Her heart rate and breathing would have slowed, leading to a coma and ultimately death. The cause of Wu's fall could not be determined, but it appeared that vanity played no role. Her camera equipment was neatly stored in its bag. The rescuers discovered her identification in her backpack and subsequently reported her passing. In the aftermath, thousands of people flocked to GiGi Wu's Facebook page, which transformed into a memorial filled with heartfelt farewells and pictures of the climber donning vibrant swimsuits atop the mountains she had conquered. Admirers commended her for sparking interest in climbing within her country, for embodying inner strengths that others may not have realised, and for serving as a role model for young girls who may not have otherwise aspired for anything beyond physical beauty. Beside the accolades, there were severe criticisms. Some commenters wrongly speculated that she had died in her pursuit of fame, even suggesting that she had hiked in just a bikini, despite being ill-prepared for the weather conditions that ultimately led to her demise. Media outlets worldwide reported her passing as the tragic loss of Taiwan's glamorous bikini climber. Despite her extensive experience in mountain climbing, GiGi Wu was unfortunately associated with a subset of social media enthusiasts who have tragically lost their lives while seeking attention, along with the countless others who have perished while taking selfies. The Taiwanese government also weighed in, threatening to impose a hefty fine of $60,000 on GiGi's mother due to her daughter's unauthorised hiking on a restricted trail, which prompted a rescue operation involving helicopters and a team of climbers. Eventually, GiGi's climbing companions intervened, leading to the government's backing down. Numerous individuals, particularly fellow climbers from various parts of the island, attended GiGi Wu's funeral, filling the room to capacity with mourners. Following her cremation, her friends placed her ashes in a small box and laid it to rest in a shallow grave beneath the shelter of a fir tree in a cemetery located in southeast New Taipei City. A modest stone, blending in with the others in the pristine section of the vast burial ground nestled on a hillside, would serve as a marker for her final resting place, often shrouded in mist during the winter months.